So imagine your 75-year-old mother is just, well, sitting alone in her living room on a Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, just a normal day.
Right. Just a normal day. And she hasn't clicked on a shady email link, She hasn't ventured into the dark web or downloaded a virus or anything like that.
She's completely innocent in this scenario.
Exactly. She simply answers a phone call. And it's from a polite young man who knows her name, knows her bank, and sounds exactly like the tellers she's spoken to for the last 30 years.
Yeah, that familiar, comforting voice.
But then, 10 minutes later, her entire life savings, everything she worked half a century to build is completely gone. Today, we are looking at how that actually happens. We're not looking at software bugs, but the human ones.
It is, frankly, a profoundly unsettling reality to confront. Because when we hear the term cybercrime, our brains immediately default to a very specific, almost cinematic image.
Oh, for sure. Like some guy in a dark hoodie typing furiously.
Exactly. We picture firewalls, complex encryption algorithms being cracked by supercomputers,
Right.
zero-day exploits.
Yeah, we think of it as a technical failure.
We do. But what we are actually witnessing today is the total industrialization of psychological warfare. And the battlefield is literally the living room of an older adult holding a smartphone.
Wow, that's heavy. Well, welcome to today's deep dive. We are so glad you're here with us. Today, we are pulling apart an incredibly detailed body of research focused on senior citizens and digital risks.
It's a fascinating read.
It really is. And our mission for this discussion is pretty clear. We want to unpack this exact intersection between everyday technology and profound human vulnerability.
Right, because we need to understand exactly how these syndicates are weaponizing psychology against the elderly.
Yes, and more importantly, we want to arm you, the listener, with the exact practical knowledge required to protect the older generations in your own life. So, what does this all mean? It means we're looking at a playbook of digital deception.
And that playbook completely bypasses the computer. That is the crucial paradigm shift we have to make right at the start.
Right, like forget the firewalls for a second.
Exactly. The research lays this out bare. The easiest way to bypass a bank's multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art digital security system is no longer to write a better computer virus.
Because that's too expensive, right?
Way too expensive.
Right.
And too difficult. The easiest way is to manipulate the person holding the keys to the account. They are hacking the human firewall.
The human firewall, I like that phrase.
Yeah, and the elderly have become the ultimate soft targets here. But, and this is important, we have to be very careful not to frame this simply as older people don't understand technology.
Oh, absolutely. Because if we just say they're gullible with tech, it almost sounds patronizing?
It is patronizing, and it's a massive oversimplification that actually blinds us to the real danger.
We really need to set the stakes properly here. Because normally when you talk about a scam, the immediate thought is the financial spreadsheet.
Money lost.
Right, the balance hits zero. But the literature we are looking at paints a much, much darker picture. The financial ruin is often just the opening act of a much deeper tragedy.
The collateral damage is what truly destroys lives. We are talking about severe emotional trauma.
It's heartbreaking.
It really is. Imagine the psychological whiplash. You have been an independent, responsible adult for decades. You raised a family, managed a mortgage, navigated a whole career.
You've prided yourself on being self-sufficient.
Right. And then in the span of a single phone call, you are stripped of your assets because you trusted the wrong voice. The resulting shame is absolutely paralyzing.
I can't even imagine the loss of dignity. To suddenly feel like you can no longer navigate the modern world safely?
It shatters their baseline sense of security. The research indicates that victims often develop a form of hypervigilance.
Like paranoia?
Basically, yeah. They start second-guessing every phone call, even from family members. They become terrified of their own devices.
Which isolates them even more.
Exactly. It forces them into a state of chronic anxiety and isolation that is incredibly destructive to their physical and mental health in their later years. It is a profound psychological injury, not just a financial one.
Which naturally leads to the big question, I think. If we know the emotional and financial devastation is this severe, we have to ask, how are these scammers bypassing the natural defenses of a smart, capable adult?
Right. What's the trick?
Yeah, what is it about this specific demographic that makes them such an effective target? So before we look at how the scams work, let's get into the vulnerability matrix. Why are seniors the soft target?
Well, it's a precise combination of factors that create a perfect storm of vulnerability. And the first factor, while definitely not the only one, is the digital knowledge gap.
Okay, but we need to define what that actually means in practice. Because let me push back a little here.
Sure, go ahead.
My dad is the most skeptical guy I know. I mean, if a door-to-door salesman comes to his house, he scrutinizes everything. If a politician makes a promise on TV, he literally rolls his eyes.
Right, he's street smart.
Exactly. He has an incredibly tuned radar for nonsense in the physical world. And he uses a smartphone. He's on WhatsApp, he watches YouTube. So why does that lifelong hardened skepticism suddenly vanish just because he's holding an iPhone?
That is the perfect question, and it cuts right to the heart of the issue. Your dad's skepticism is built on decades of pattern recognition in the physical world.
Pattern recognition.
Yes. He knows what a shady salesman looks like. He knows what a bad contract looks like. But those physical cues, they don't translate to the digital interface.
Oh, I see.
The gap isn't intelligence, it's digital architecture. For example, consider how we interact with URLs. To you or me, if we see a link that says www.hdfcbankupdate-security.biz, our brain instantly flags it.
Yeah, it screams danger to us. It's obviously fake.
Right. We understand domain structures. We know that's a scam. But to an older adult who didn't grow up with the internet, that URL just looks like technical jargon.
They just see the word bank.
Exactly. They see the word bank, and their brain, lacking the architectural context, applies the physical world logic. It says it's the bank, so it must be the bank.
Wow. They take the digital interface at face value because they haven't developed that instinctual, subconscious digital skepticism. So it's like, I don't know, dropping a street-smart New Yorker into the middle of a dense jungle. All their urban survival skills are totally useless because the environment's rules have entirely changed.
That is a great analogy. And this extends to fundamental security mechanisms, too.
Yeah.
Take the OTP, the one-time password.
Oh, yeah, the holy grail of logging in.
Right. To younger generations, the OTP is sacred. It is the vault door. It is the final, absolute confirmation of a transaction.
You never share it.
Never. But for many seniors, an OTP is just a frustrating string of random numbers the bank sends them. They just want to read it back to the nice customer service man on the phone who is trying to fix their account.
Oh, man, they don't conceptualize it as a key.
No, they conceptualize it as a step in a bureaucratic process.
And the scammers exploit that lack of conceptual understanding. There's this chilling example from our research where the scammer calls and says, "Sir, your bank account has been blocked due to suspicious activity. Please read me the OTP we just sent to your phone so I can verify your identity and unblock it for you."
And in that moment, the victim believes they are participating in a standard, helpful customer service interaction.
They think they're fixing a problem.
They don't realize they're actually handing over the authorization to drain their account. They are simply following instructions from someone who sounds authoritative.
Which brings us to the second massive factor in this vulnerability matrix. The trusting nature of an older generation.
Yes.
And this is where the industrialized psychology really starts to show its teeth.
We really have to look at the sociological context here. You have to remember the era in which these older adults grew up and spent their formative professional years.
Right, a very different time.
They operated in a societal structure where institutions were deeply revered. A polite voice, formal language, an official tone, these things commanded inherent respect and trust.
I think about my own grandfather here. He spent 40 years working at the post office. To him, an official government form or call from a bank manager was practically sacred. If someone called him in 1985 and said they were from the bank, they were from the bank. There was no caller ID spoofing. There were no offshore scam call centers using voice over IP. The barrier to entry to impersonate a massive financial institution was incredibly high.
Exactly. The environment they adapted to was fundamentally different. Bank managers, police officers, government bureaucrats, these were figures of immense authority in the community.
And scammers today just weaponize that.
They do. They exploit this deeply ingrained social conditioning. They don't call up and sound like thugs or criminals. They adopt the persona, the exact figures these seniors were raised to respect.
They use the good neighbor qualities against them. Like, if someone claiming to be a tax official calls and speaks with a commanding, slightly aggressive tone, an elderly person's default reaction is compliance, right? Not defiance.
Yes, they want to be good, law-abiding citizens. They don't want to cause trouble. They just want to resolve the issue politely.
It is a complete inversion of social norms. The very qualities that make someone a kind, trusting, cooperative member of society are the exact qualities that syndicates target.
They use politeness as a wedge to pry open the door.
Man. And if politeness is the wedge, the third factor is the silent epidemic that makes them so desperate for that connection in the first place.
Loneliness.
Yeah. Loneliness.
This is perhaps the most difficult aspect of this research to digest, honestly, because it deals with a profound societal failure. We have a massive population of older adults who are profoundly isolated.
As I was reviewing this section, the analogy that kept coming to mind was a predator isolating its prey from the herd. But the terrifying part is that they aren't using force or intimidation to isolate them.
What are they using?
They are using kindness.
That is an incredibly apt way to frame it. The reality for many seniors is stark. Their children have grown and moved away, perhaps to different states or even countries.
Their social circles naturally shrink.
Right, as friends pass away or lose mobility. Their daily interactions are incredibly limited. They might go days without a meaningful conversation.
Just sitting in quiet houses.
Yeah, and their smartphone is their only vibrant window to the outside world.
And the syndicates know this. They have mapped this demographic reality, so they don't always go for the quick smash and grab. They run what is essentially a digital long con. They groom the victim.
Grooming is the exact right word. It's a calculated, systematic process of emotional manipulation. The scammer might start by sending a seemingly accidental text message or reaching out on social media.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was John's number.
Exactly. The senior replies politely, saying, "No, wrong number," and a conversation begins.
And they just slowly drip feed attention.
Yes, they send daily good morning messages. They send inspirational quotes or pretty pictures of landscapes or religious greetings.
Just building rapport.
They ask the senior about their day. They ask about their health. They listen, and this is crucial. They actively listen to the senior complain about their arthritis or talk about how much they miss their grandchildren.
They become the attentive, caring companion that the elderly person is so desperately craving.
Right. They manufacture a relationship to fill the void.
And over weeks, or even months, they create a genuine emotional dependency. The senior actually looks forward to these messages. They start to view this person, a person they have literally never met, who might be sitting in a boiler room 10,000 miles away, as a true friend, a confidant.
And only then, once the psychological hook is set deep, does the trap snap shut.
The long con pays off.
Yes. The quote-unquote friend suddenly encounters a crisis. They're in a terrible accident overseas and need an emergency wire transfer for hospital bills. Or they've discovered a foolproof exclusive investment opportunity and they want to help their new friend get rich.
They leverage that manufactured love to extract the money.
It's pure emotional manipulation.
The betrayal is just staggering. I mean, you don't just lose your life savings, you lose a relationship you genuinely believed was real. You realize you were just a mark on a spreadsheet the entire time. It's psychological violence.
It is. And it contrasts sharply with the fourth factor in our vulnerability matrix. While the long con uses a slow build of affection, the fourth factor uses the rapid, aggressive weaponization of fear and panic.
Right, because if they don't want to spend 3 months building a fake friendship, they just use shock and awe. The research details how scammers intentionally engineer high-stress, existential threat scenarios.
What's fascinating here is how the brain operates under acute, sudden panic. When we talk about bypassing the firewall, we literally mean bypassing the prefrontal cortex, the logical, critical thinking part of the brain.
Let's break that down. Because the scripts they use are honestly terrifying. They call and say things like, your pension will be permanently stopped tomorrow.
Or, your health insurance policy has been canceled.
There's a warrant out for your arrest due to tax fraud.
Your bank account is being frozen right now.
Right, and for a senior living on a fixed income, these aren't minor inconveniences. These are existential threats.
And an existential threat triggers the amygdala, which is the primitive fear center of the brain.
The lizard brain.
Yes. When you are told your only source of income is vanishing, your body initiates a fight-or-flight response. Adrenaline floods your system. Cortisol spikes. And biologically, when the amygdala takes over to ensure immediate survival, the prefrontal cortex is temporarily suppressed.
So your brain basically screams, survive the immediate threat. There is absolutely no neurological bandwidth left to think, wait, let me carefully inspect the domain name of this email, or let me hang up and call my daughter to get her opinion.
Logic is taken completely offline.
Wow.
The scammers rely on this biological override. They know that in a state of overwhelming fear, the elderly will blindly follow instructions without stopping to verify them. The victim suffers from tunnel vision.
And the only way out of that tunnel is the scammer.
Exactly. The only way to alleviate the agonizing panic is to comply with the voice on the phone, who's conveniently offering a solution. They manufacture the terrifying crisis and then instantly position themselves as the savior who can make the fear go away.
Like, Your pension is suspended, but don't worry, just read me the OTP and I can override the system for you. The relief of having a solution right there in front of them overrides any lingering suspicion.
It's a devastatingly effective psychological loop.
Okay, so if we take a step back, we have this intense matrix of vulnerabilities. We have the gap in digital architecture knowledge. We have the deeply ingrained societal trust and authority. We have the crushing isolation of loneliness. And we have the biological susceptibility to engineered panic.
It's a very potent mix.
It really is. So we've established the vulnerabilities, fear, and obedience to authority. Now let's see how they are combined into one of the most devastating traps mentioned in our source. The anatomy of a digital heist, specifically focusing on the pension scam.
The pension scam is practically a masterclass in exploiting everything we just discussed. It heavily leverages the fear of losing an existing vital lifeline while wrapping it in layers of bureaucratic authority.
Let's walk the listener through this scenario. Imagine you are 78 years old. Your entire financial stability rests on a monthly pension deposit. It pays for your groceries, your prescriptions, your heating bill.
It is your lifeline.
Exactly. The scammer sets the stage by contacting you, posing as a fake bank or pension department officer.
And they don't use generic language. They use highly specific, intimidating bureaucratic buzzwords to immediately establish credibility and trigger that panic.
The research gives us the exact phrases. They say things like, "Sir, your annual pension verification is pending," or "You have failed to update your digital life certificate."
Or, your account has been flagged for incomplete KYC and will be suspended at midnight.
Now, to a younger person, a term like life certificate might sound absurd, but to a pensioner,
To a pensioner, it is a very real, very stressful, annual bureaucratic hurdle they are already conditioned to worry about. The scammers camouflage their lie perfectly within the victim's truth.
they use the real world to build the fiction. And the goal of this theater, to extract the holy grail of digital data.
They aren't trying to trick you into sending them a $50 gift card.
No, they want the keys to the kingdom. They want your ATM card details, your national identification numbers, your net banking login, and ultimately the OTPs.
Because once they compile that package of data, they essentially become you in the eyes of the bank's automated systems.
Right, so how do they get it? The process usually starts with a hook, a fake SMS or WhatsApp message. "Dear customer, your pension account will be blocked today due to incomplete KYC. Call this urgent helpline immediately."
Notice the time constraint there. Block today, immediately.
It's the urgency trigger.
Exactly. Designed to spark that amygdala response we just talked about.
So the victim, terrified, calls the number. Or, even more deviously, the scammer tracks the delivery of the message and calls the victim 3 minutes later, catching them right at the peak of their anxiety. "Did you just receive our automated warning about your account suspension?" And just like that, the victim is on the hook.
They believe they are talking to an official who can save their pension.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This is where we enter the technical trap.
And this is vital to understand because it explains how sophisticated these operations have become. They don't just ask the victim to read out their credit card number over the phone anymore.
Right, they ask the victim to install a remote access app. The source specifically names AnyDesk, TeamViewer, and Quick Support.
We need to explain exactly what these apps do because this is where the digital knowledge gap proves fatal. AnyDesk and TeamViewer are legitimate screen sharing and remote control applications.
Right, they aren't malware.
No, they were built for IT professionals. If your office computer crashes, an IT technician in another state can use TeamViewer to view your screen, move your mouse, and fix the problem without being in the room.
It's an incredible tool for tech support, but the scammer flips it into a weapon. They say, "Sir, the new verification portal is very complicated for our senior customers. Don't worry, I can do the hard work for you. Just download this Quick Support app from the official Google Play Store. Tell me the 9-digit code it gives you, and I will link our systems."
The victim hears official Google Play Store and their trust increases. They download the app, they read the 9-digit code to the scammer. A prompt pops up on their phone asking for permission, and the scammer says, "Just click accept so we can verify your file."
And the moment they click accept,
They have crossed the point of no return. The moment that app is installed and access is granted, the scammer has full, unfettered, invisible control over the victim's smartphone.
wow. To use an analogy, it's like a stranger knocking on your door saying they're from the gas company checking for a leak and asking for your house keys so they can go check the basement while you wait outside. You hand them the keys and they walk in and empty your safe.
That's exactly it. With AnyDesk installed, The scammer can see everything on the victim's screen. They can read incoming text messages.
Which is the entire point of the exercise. Because now the scammer opens their own computer, logs into the victim's bank account using the details they extracted earlier, and initiates a massive transfer of all the funds to a mule account.
Right, and then the bank security system does its job. It flags a large transfer and sends an OTP via text message to the victim's phone to verify it.
But the victim never has to read it out loud.
No, because the scammer is mirroring the victim's phone screen through any desk. The scammer simply watches the text message notification pop up, reads the OTP silently to themselves, types it into the bank's website, and authorizes the transfer.
That is wild. The victim is sitting there in their living room, holding the phone to their ear, watching their screen occasionally flicker, completely oblivious to the fact that their bank account is being emptied in real time. It is a silent, devastating heist.
And what makes it so hard to detect in the moment is the illusion of legitimacy the scammers construct around the silence.
Right, they don't just sit there quietly on the phone.
No, they create a performance.
Yeah.
They highlight a real danger noted in the text. Scammers go to extreme lengths to make it feel official.
Psychological theater. They direct the victim to incredibly realistic, fake government websites. They say, please navigate to this portal and enter your file number. And the site has the national emblem, the official fonts, the correct color schemes.
It creates a psychological sunk cost. The victim thinks, I spent 20 minutes navigating this site and filling out these forms. This must be an official procedure.
The craziest detail in the research to me is the fingerprint verification drama. To buy time while they are stealing the money in the background, the scammer will ask the pensioner to press their thumb against the smartphone screen for 10 seconds for biometric scanning.
Now, we know that a random spot on the screen doesn't have a fingerprint reader.
Right. But the physical act of pressing their thumb makes the senior citizen deeply believe they are participating in a high-security, standard official process. It keeps them compliant and occupied.
It's a chilling exploitation of their obedience. They are weaponizing the very rituals of bureaucracy that these older generations have spent their entire lives navigating and respecting.
Okay, so the pension scam is fundamentally rooted in the fear of losing an existing asset. It's a defense mechanism. But human psychology has another very powerful lever. If scammers can exploit the fear of loss, they can equally exploit the hope of a sudden windfall.
Which brings us to the exact opposite end of the emotional spectrum.
The insurance trap, exploiting hope and greed?
Yes, the fake insurance call scam. The bait here is entirely different. You aren't being threatened with destitution. You're being promised a reward.
The scammer calls, and they adopt a very polished, smooth corporate persona. They aren't a gruff government bureaucrat. They are an upbeat insurance agent from a major, recognizable firm.
They use perfectly calibrated scripts designed to trigger immediate excitement or profound relief. They will say things like, "Good news, sir. Your old life insurance policy from 1998 has matured."
Or, a special company bonus of 2 lakh rupees is going to be released to your account today.
Exactly. Everyone loves unexpected money. It is a universal human fantasy.
Oh, for sure. To find out an old investment paid off or that a company owes you money, for a senior dealing with inflation and rising healthcare costs, it feels like a miracle.
And the research details 3 specific techniques they use once they have the victim hooked on this fantasy.
Let's detail those methods. The first technique is the fake renewal payment. This is insidious because it blends the fear of loss with the promise of reward.
Right. The scammer says, "Sir, your policy is about to lapse. You will lose the massive payout you've been paying into for 20 years. But if you just pay a small one-time renewal fee right now, say 5,000 rupees, we can keep the policy active and immediately process your massive payout."
This is a classic application of the sunk cost fallacy. The older adult thinks about the thousands of dollars they invested over the decades. The thought of losing all of that equity over a minor technicality is unbearable. So, paying a relatively small fee to secure a massive return seems not just logical, but urgent.
They are manipulated into willingly transferring the money, believing they are making a smart financial decision.
The second technique is the bonus release fraud. This purely exploits greed or the hope for financial relief. The scammer says, "Congratulations, you've been selected for a massive bonus payout." But there's always a catch.
Always a catch. You just need to send a small processing fee or pay the preliminary taxes on the amount to unlock the funds.
It's the modern vocal iteration of the classic advance fee scam, the Nigerian prince email, but delivered via a highly convincing interactive phone call. The promise of the windfall is so intoxicating that the victim rationalizes the upfront fee.
And the third technique is the fake KYC update. This one is dangerous because it doesn't always ask for money up front, making it seem less suspicious. It's purely about data harvesting.
Right. The scammer says, in order to direct deposit your bonus, we need to update your Know Your Customer details for compliance.
And then they systematically walk the victim through handing over their PAN card number, their national ID, their full bank details, and inevitably the dreaded OTP to verify the new file.
They trick the victim into handing over the tools needed for complete identity theft, all under the guise of trying to hand them a pile of cash.
And what makes this insurance trap so incredibly effective is, again, the meticulous psychological tricks the scammers use to build the illusion.
It's not just a guy reading a script from a quiet room. They construct an entire auditory and visual soundscape to convince the victim they are dealing with a massive corporate entity.
The production value is staggering. They use formal corporate language. They immediately establish authority by providing fake employee IDs, like, "My name is David, employee ID 44892, calling from the Central Claims Disbursement Department."
They will generate fake official documents, PDFs with stolen corporate logos, official-looking watermarks, forged signatures, and send them over WhatsApp while they are on the phone with the victim.
Right, saying, "Sir, I have just sent you the official release form. Please review it while we speak."
It provides tangible, visual confirmation of the lie. The victim sees the logo they recognize, and their doubt vanishes. But the most devious trick highlighted in the research, and this honestly blew my mind, is the use of ambient background audio.
Yes, they will literally play a pre-recorded track of background office noise during the call.
That is so crazy to me. The victim hears the murmur of dozens of people talking, the sound of phones ringing in the distance, the clatter of keyboards.
To make it sound like a bustling, legitimate corporate call center.
And it works. Because the victim hears that ambient noise and their brain subconsciously registers, this is a real company. This is a real office building. Therefore, this is a safe interaction.
It completely bypasses their logical filters, using subtle auditory cues. They aren't just lying with their words, they're lying with the environment.
It is incredibly sophisticated. And if we pull back from the specific mechanics of the pension and insurance scams, the literature reveals a fundamental truth. Beneath the different narratives, there is a master playbook of emotional manipulation that governs all these frauds.
The scammer's emotional playbook.
Yes. The research distills this down to 5 core emotional triggers. Let's walk through these, and I want you to analyze why they work so well on the human brain. Trigger number 1, authority.
Well, we touched on this, but neurologically, when confronted by authority, especially in older generations raised with strict societal hierarchies, the brain defaults to compliance.
Right. I am the senior bank manager speaking.
Exactly. Questioning someone who identifies as the senior bank manager or cyber police feels inherently wrong or risky to them. The scammer uses the victim's own moral compass, their desire to be a compliant citizen as a weapon, to demand unquestioning obedience.
Trigger number 2, urgency.
Your account will be blocked in 5 minutes. This is purely about time manipulation. By shrinking the decision-making window to almost zero, the scammer intentionally starves the prefrontal cortex of the time it needs to process anomalies.
It eliminates the time needed for critical thinking.
You cannot reason your way out of a complex problem if you believe you only have 300 seconds before total disaster strikes. The urgency forces immediate reflexive action.
Trigger number 3, fear.
Your pension will be permanently stopped. As we discussed, this is the amygdala hijack. Fear paralyzes logic. When someone is terrified of impending destitution, they will grasp at absolutely any lifeline offered to them.
Even if that lifeline is held by the person who pushed them into the water.
Precisely.
Trigger number 4, greed, or perhaps hope.
You will receive a bonus amount. This targets the reward centers of the brain. The sudden influx of dopamine associated with an unexpected windfall can completely blind a person to obvious red flags. They want the reality to be true so desperately.
And finally, trigger number 5, which might be the most insidious one of all, the emotional bond.
Sir, don't worry, I am here to help you.
The scammer acting as the savior in the exact crisis they engineered.
This is a form of acute psychological manipulation. The scammer introduces the terrifying problem, watches the victim panic, and then offers a soothing, reassuring voice. The victim begins to feel profound gratitude toward the scammer. They never realize their ally is the threat.
Okay, I have to stop here and challenge this whole premise for a second. Let me offer a little pushback.
Go for it.
When I look at these 5 triggers, authority, urgency, fear, greed, emotional bond, none of these require an internet connection. None of these require an app. Are we completely overcomplicating this by calling it a digital risk? Is the core problem here actually a lack of tech literacy? Or are we simply seeing ancient, centuries-old con artist tricks wearing a shiny new digital mask?
That is a brilliant distinction to make, and the research emphatically proves it's the latter. We are dealing with ancient con artist tricks. Human nature hasn't fundamentally changed.
So the technology is just.
What? The technology is merely the delivery mechanism. The true exploit is the manipulation of human empathy, trust, and fear.
But the delivery mechanism matters, right?
Absolutely. It is an incredibly efficient, infinitely scalable delivery mechanism. In the past, a con artist had to travel to a town, look a victim in the eye, and risk physical capture. It was slow. Today, a single scammer sitting in a call center can deploy these ancient psychological tricks against 1,000 senior citizens a day with near-perfect anonymity.
The digital mask makes the ancient con infinitely more dangerous.
Yes, because it removes all physical boundaries and exploits a medium that older generations inherently find confusing.
All right, so now that you, the listener, understand the threat landscape, how do you actually protect the senior citizens in your life? Thankfully, our source provides a highly specific safety checklist. Let's transition into building a digital fortress.
This is where we must shift to actionable, practical defenses.
The research outlines the 7 golden rules of safety. Let's unpack these enthusiastically because this is the good stuff. Rule number 1, never share OTPs.
We have to change the conceptual understanding of the OTP. Banks, insurance companies, and the government never ask for an OTP over the phone, ever. If a voice on the phone asks for a code, that is the absolute proof it is a scam. Hang up.
Rule number 2, no unknown apps.
Never install screen sharing or remote access apps on a stranger's advice. If a caller tells you to go to the App Store to download something to fix your account, it is a scam.
Rule number 3, verify every call.
Always call back on the official number. Do a Google search to verify the number calling you. Never trust the caller ID because it can be faked.
Rule number 4, do not panic.
If a caller creates artificial urgency saying, do it now, or it's an emergency, or account closing stop, that pressure itself is the biggest red flag. Consult a family member first before taking any action.
Rule number 5, family support. Children and relatives must actively educate their parents, show them real examples of scams, and build regular awareness. We'll dive deeper into this in a second.
Rule number 6, keep banking alerts on.
Ensure SMS alerts and email transaction notifications are always active for their accounts. You want them to know immediately if a single dollar moves out.
And rule number 7, ditch simple passwords.
Stop using date of birth, phone numbers, or 123456. Use strong passwords. Help them set up biometric logins like Face ID or fingerprint so they don't have to rely on memory at all.
Now, let's circle back to Rule 5, the role of the family. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is arguably the most critical mandate in the entire text. And it speaks directly to you, the listener.
Right, because it's not enough to just vaguely tell seniors to be careful. Families need to provide regular digital guidance.
A little bit every month. Make digital safety a normal, recurring conversation.
And the text says you should show them actual scam awareness videos. Play a recording of a scam call for them. Let them hear the tone and the background noise so they know what it looks and sounds like. It builds pattern recognition.
Visual and auditory examples are incredibly powerful teaching tools.
Also, you must pre-save important numbers in their phones. The bank helpline, the cybercrime helpline, trusted family contacts. Build a safe, walled garden for them.
But despite our best efforts, the scammers are professionals. We have to prepare for the reality that defenses fail.
What happens if a senior citizen actually falls for it? The text provides a strict emergency protocol. Let's outline this rapid response strategy. Immediate action steps. Step 1, call the bank immediately.
Do not wait for the morning. Use that official number you pre-saved.
Step 2, have the account frozen completely. Stop any pending transactions.
Step 3, change all passwords immediately, especially email and net banking passwords, and do this from a different device, just in case their phone is compromised.
And step 4, report the crime immediately. The text highlights specific resources for victims in India. You must report to the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal.
And immediately dial the dedicated cyber helpline number, 1930. Let me repeat that number, 1930. Keep these saved.
Okay, let's unpack this one last time. As we bring this deep dive to a close, let's summarize the ultimate message of the text. Think about the past. We pushed financial education heavily, right?
Right. Teaching people how to balance a checkbook, save for retirement.
Exactly. But today, digital education is the new absolute necessity. Teaching the elderly how to use technology is not enough. Teaching them how to use it safely is equally important. They need training on scam awareness, privacy protection, online fraud detection, and safe banking habits.
To reiterate the final conclusion, scammers find the elderly to be easy targets because of trust, loneliness, fear, and a lack of digital awareness. Therefore, the greatest firewall isn't an antivirus software, it is awareness, patience, and unwavering family support.
Which leaves you, the listener, with a lingering, somewhat provocative thought to take away from all of this.
Yeah.
We spend so much time and energy trying to teach our parents and grandparents how to use the conveniences of the digital world, like video calling or online shopping.
We want them to be connected.
Right. But if, as the text says, scammers are actively hacking their emotions, perhaps we need to ask ourselves a harder question. Are we spending enough time teaching our older loved ones that in the digital world, a little bit of healthy suspicion is actually a form of self-care?
It's a completely different way of looking at it.
It is. Think about the digital habits of the elders in your life today. Are they armed with suspicion or just blind trust? The answer to that question might dictate the most important conversation you have with them this year. Until next time.